Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever felt like medical language is basically a secret code designed to be confusing? Well, in this explainer, we are going to crack that code together. This is the very first video in our series on mastering medical terminology, so let's just dive right in. When you see a word like electrocardiogram or gastroenteritis, it's totally normal to feel a little overwhelmed. It can really seem like a secret language you have to memorize from scratch. But what if I told you there's a much simpler way to look at it? You see, here's the thing. Medical terms aren't just random words, they're puzzles. And once you learn how to see the individual pieces, you can solve almost any term you come across. It's all about finding the key to crack the code. So, what is this key? Well, it's the simple fact that nearly all medical terms are built from just four types of word parts. Think of them as your building blocks. Once you know what they are, you can construct or deconstruct thousands of words. First up is the root word. This is the absolute foundation of the term. It gives you the word's essential meaning. Most of the time, it refers to a specific body part. For example, if you see the root cardi, that's C-A-R-D-I, you'll know right away the term has something to do with the heart. It's the core subject of the word. Next, we have the suffix. This is the word part that gets attached to the end of the root, and its job is to change the root's meaning to describe what's happening. A classic example is itis, spelled I-T-I-S. Whenever you see the suffix, it means inflammation. So, the suffix is what tells you the story about the root word. On the other end of the word, we have the prefix. This part, you guessed it, is added to the beginning of a term. It adds another layer of detail, like location, a number, or time. For instance, the prefix peri, that's P-E-R-I, means around or surrounding. It just gives us more specific information about the root. So, the crucial thing to remember is that both prefixes and suffixes modify the root, just from different ends. The prefix adds context at the beginning, and the suffix adds context at the end. It's actually a very logical system when you see it laid out. Now, you might be wondering, if you just stick a root and a suffix together, doesn't it sometimes sound a bit clunky? How do all these different parts connect so smoothly to form one single word? That's where our final component comes in, the combining vowel. This is almost always the letter O, and it acts like a little bridge, connecting a root to a suffix or even a root to another root. It doesn't actually change the meaning. Its only job is to make the word easier to say. For example, in hematology, the O is just there to connect the root for blood, hemat, to the suffix for study of, which is logi. Okay, theory is great, but let's actually put these tools into practice. You now have the four key components you need to decode real medical terms. So let's start with a nice straightforward example. Let's take a look at the word dermatitis. First, we identify the parts. We have dermat, which is the root word for skin. Then we have the suffix itis, which we just learned means inflammation. You put them together, and what do you get? Inflammation of the skin. See? Pretty logical. Now, how about a more complex one? Pericarditis. Let's break it down. We start with the prefix peri, which means around. Then we have the root, cardi, meaning heart, and we finish with our familiar suffix itis, meaning inflammation. So when you put the whole puzzle together, you get inflammation around the heart. Pericarditis. You're already decoding these terms like a pro. To make it even easier, let's just summarize this whole process into a simple, repeatable method you can use for any term you come across. Think of this as your personal terminology toolkit. Here is the most effective way to analyze any medical term. First, always start at the end and define the suffix. This tells you what's happening. Second, go to the beginning and define the prefix. This gives you location or time. And finally, define the root or roots in the middle. This tells you what body part is involved. So remember, suffix, then prefix, then root. And that's really it. By seeing medical terms not as long, scary words, but as logical puzzles made of smaller, understandable parts, you've unlocked the secret. You now have the fundamental tool to understand the language of medicine. And that's a skill that will serve you every single day in your studies and in your future career. That's the structure of medical terminology. This is the first video in our series, so stay tuned for more. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for future videos. Share this video with your friends and let me know in the comments below what topics you would like me to cover next.